漫画家なれるじゃん。
漫画家か。私。じゃあ、藤野ちゃんはなんで描いてるの？
Alright, so not too long ago, I actually got the chance to go watch Tatsuki Fujimoto's adaptation of Look Back. If you're not familiar with what Look Back is, it's basically this one shot he did a while ago. It got picked up as an anime adaptation movie. It's pretty short, I'm not gonna lie. The movie itself is probably like max 58 minutes. The only reason it's a slightly longer is because they have like interviews at the end describing about the film. But it was really good. I was genuinely surprised by how good this was. Now, I'm gonna admit, spoilers by the way, I mean, this manga's been out for like ever, but like, spoilers regardless. Movie was pretty good. I gotta give it 8 out of 10 for me personally. While I wasn't as emotionally attached, while it wasn't as sad to me, it didn't really hit me as hard. I really understood the message behind it. Sometimes you just gotta get out and do things. You can't always just stay inside. You can't always just look back into the past and be like, what could have been? What if I had done things very differently? What does it mean to do things at the moment? I really like the message of the film through and through. I'm gonna be honest as well, I'm not the biggest fan of Tatsuki Fujimoto. Nothing against his art, nothing against his story. I just never really been a fan of it. I tried to get into Chainsaw Man. I can't get into it. Like, it's one of those series that's cool looking, but it's not for me. I know a lot of people always tell me, you should read Chainsaw Man, you should read some of his work, but I'm gonna be honest, it's just never really been for me. Like, something about his work, I just never really been a fan of. I've read it, but I don't get that, wow, I love this is amazing. No, like, I don't know, something about his work, I'm just not, it doesn't really interest me, to be honest. When I heard Look Back was getting an adaptation, I thought to myself, I'm not the biggest fan of this guy just because his work doesn't really interest me. But I want to check out this film because I hear people praise it. People say this is sad, it's going to make you cry. People were overhyping this, saying, oh, it's sad as hell, and you like sad stuff, so you're going to go watch it. I'm like, I'll be the judge of that. I go in the theater. A lot of people actually were crying towards the end of the film. Me, personally, wasn't really crying. I've seen sadder, but like I said, I do understand the emotional impact of the message. Essentially, the story follows two girls. Two are aspiring manga artists. One of them, if I remember her name correctly, Fujimo, as she's this one girl who does comic strips. She's trying to be the best at being a manga artist at a very young age, and then she meets this other person, and directly they become kind of like rivals till she ultimately ends up delivering her certificate for her to graduate. And until the shutting girl tells her, oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan, why did you stop making manga? I loved your work. Anytime your work came out, it really inspired me. And that's when this friendship begins to form, because the reason Fujimo stopped making manga was because she didn't think she was good enough. She didn't really value herself. She saw someone that was better and said, you know what, I'm not gonna look back, I'm just gonna move forward and be a better person. I'm not gonna let art stop me from having a good life. And this is pretty important for in the later half of this video, as well as the series. I really like how their dynamic is moving forward. These two characters are just like really bonding. You have this shut-in girl who's never really done anything with her life. The reason she doesn't go to school is pretty much because she has social anxiety. She's afraid of being with people. She's afraid of getting rejected. Similar to how those people, you know, like hikikomoris, I think that's what it's called in Japan. People who are shut-ins, they don't really fuck with society. It's really unhealthy, to be honest. That's pretty much what this girl is. While Fujimo is pretty much this outgoing girl. She's good at sports. She's a very good person. She's very kind-hearted. She's a very good, talented artist. Until they meet, they begin to form this interesting dynamic, this friendship, which ultimately evolves to them creating a manga series. That's when her friend backs out and says, you know what, I can't be part of this manga series. I love making manga with you, but I can't be doing this because I want to go to college. I want to go to university. I want to do something. I want to learn to be a better person because I ultimately want to become a better artist. You are great by yourself. And I really do think this is pretty interesting how Fujimo ultimately gets mad at her for wanting to do her own thing, wanting to be separated from her. Like, look, I don't blame Fujimo for getting mad, because if you've both been doing things for such a long time and then your friend pretty much backs out of it, of course you're gonna get upset. You guys had a dream together. It might not have been her dream, but you guys were doing this for the ride along. It's not only till towards the halfway of the movie where Fujimo's watching the news and talking to her assistant, saying, damn, I need more assistants because people keep quitting on me. Yeah, I do this manga full time. It's hard because making manga in this industry is very demanding. I need someone else who can draw. That's when she turns on the news and sees the school her friend went to, where an axe murder, where this person came in attacking students, and ultimately her friend was the one who was caught up in the crossfire and she ended up dying. And then we get Fujima going to her apartment and then seeing the what if scenario, like what could have been if they never became friends. You see a timeline in which they don't interact, everything goes differently, but towards the very end they ultimately do end up meeting and becoming friends, eventually becoming manga artists, which is really beautiful because it sends this message of do not look back because you will miss so much of what could have been. Live in the moment. Never look back, because if you do, you're honestly it's going to be full of regrets, and you can't be regretting those kinds of things because that's not what matters. What matters is here at the moment, because Fujimo was the one who inspired her to be a better person, to ultimately get out of her room. And without that, yeah, she may have died in vain, but at least her memory lives on and inspires Fujimo to be a better person. And towards the very end of the film, it's pretty much just her going back to her desk, feeling motivated, and after seeing a strip, her old comic strip, and she tells herself, well, yeah, I'm gonna go back to work. I'm gonna be a better person. I'm gonna honor her and her memory. Ultimately, this movie, what it shows is, just be a better person. Do not look back in the past. Always look forward to the future. I really, really like that message. Yeah, it was pretty emotional for a lot of people. For me, not necessarily, but I do like the clarity within it. Part of the great thing about this movie is the fact that while there's not too much character like talking, the background is pretty much what delivers on the performance of this film. Because it's all about background animation. It's all about the visuals that pretty much carry the story looking forward. Yeah, there's not a lot of words being spoken, but the emotions, the body language that's being said, that's being interpreted is what honestly carries this film, which is to me what made it so brilliant to begin with, especially when she was skipping through the rain, showing her emotions. I thought that was pretty well animated. I look back towards the manga and the film animated it very well, and it showed the dynamic, such a vivid fluid of motion that, oh hey, I'm doing this type of impact. It was really, really good. Ultimately, this film proved that you don't have to have characters speaking to tell a compelling and emotional story. As long as you have a good story and good visuals, for the most part, that carries the story and carries a thematic element, it's fantastic. Like, I really, really enjoyed this film. Am I gonna watch it again? Maybe. This film was actually only limited to like 2 days, at least here in North America. It was only Monday and Sunday, but as of the moment of me posting this, they actually do have screening for Wednesday and Thursday. So if you have any theater, check your local listing because it should be there. Anyways, that's just my thoughts on Look Back. It was really good. They make me cry, but I like the message. That being said, I'll catch you guys on my next one. Peace.